Next is Tatjana Ždanoka, 1 minute.
This week, a Latvian MEP, Tatjana Ždanoka, was accused in a joint investigation by Russian, Swedish, Estonian and Latvian media of working with Russian intelligence since 2004. The outlets published leaked emails between the MEP and two men who were described as her handlers in Russian intelligence service, the FSB. The emails discussed her activities in the European Parliament, including organising events and trips to raise awareness of issues sympathetic to Russian interests. In one email, Ždanoka requested funding. She has denied the accusations as false. So why does this matter to Irish voters? Two Irish MEPs, Clare Daly and Mick Wallace, joined Ždanoka to take part in a series of Russia-related events in the build-up to the invasion of Ukraine and its aftermath. These weren't widely attended events. In most cases, Ždanoka, Daly and Wallace were the only three MEPs to take part.
You are not in 43, you are in the European Union.
Ždanoka has long been a fringe MEP, and many members of parliament have kept their distance from her. She opposed Latvia's independence from the Soviet Union and for years has advocated for issues in the parliament that chime with Russian policy priorities.
Left group members from Ireland, Clare Daly and Mick Wallace.
Thank you so much for convening this important meeting.
According to this recording of an online conference in September 2021, Ždanoka appears to have introduced Daly and Wallace to the case of Algirdas Paleckis, a Lithuanian former businessman and diplomat who was on trial on charges of spying for Russia and was ultimately convicted.
We don't know an awful lot about what's been going on, but obviously Tatjana has been filling us in a bit.
And I'm glad to get to know also Mick and Clare. But my special thanks go to, of course, to Tatjana Ždanoka.
Daly and Wallace took up the case as a freedom of expression issue, and they travelled to Lithuania in November 2021 to take part in a conference and rally in support of Paleckis.
Your fight is our fight.
In the view of the protesters you see here, the case is an example of what they describe as the oppression of Lithuania's Russian-speaking minority, a point of view that has long been championed by the Kremlin.
Democracy is a fading notion all across Europe as the elites grab more and more of the power.
You can see here that there aren't many people at the rally. It's not a very high-profile issue in Lithuania. On her return, as she had promised, Daly raised awareness of the case on her social media pages. In February 2022, Daly and Wallace joined Ždanoka for a protest in the European Parliament, wearing t-shirts that say "Stop Killing Donbass Children." This slogan refers to the accusation that Ukrainian forces killed children in the east of the country, part of Moscow's justification for its invasion, which took place just 8 days after this photo was taken. When the European Parliament voted to condemn Russia's invasion, Daly, Wallace and Ždanoka were three of only 13 MEPs to vote against the resolution.
Putin is trying to subjugate a friendly European country, and he's trying to redraw the maps of Europe by force. He must and he will fail. Thank you.
In March, the two Irish MEPs returned to Lithuania again to attend one of Paleckis' court hearings with Ždanoka. Paleckis is the guy in the black tie.
What we are seeing here in Lithuania is very worrying for the system of justice in this country. After all, this is a country that is part of the European Union.
Wallace raised the case in the European Parliament not long afterwards, calling it a shame on the European Union.
We've been to the court twice in Lithuania, where Algirdas Paleckis is facing several years in prison for he's accused of being a Russian spy, and the only evidence that they're supposed to have against him, even the judges can't see it. So no evidence has been presented against him because they're saying it's state secret. Mother of God, is this the rule of law of a member state of the European Union? The Algirdas Paleckis case puts shame on the European Union.
How do we know all of this? Because each of Daly and Wallace's trips to Lithuania was publicised by Ždanoka's political party, the Latvian Russian Union. It's a small party with 3 councillors and 1 MEP, Ždanoka, which advocates for Latvia's Russian-speaking minority, for stronger ties to Russia, and for Latvia to leave NATO. It's also considered to have openly supported Russia's annexation of Crimea in 2014. Paleckis also published footage of these events on his YouTube channel and on one occasion featured Wallace and Daly as guests. The visits of the Irish MEPs and their campaigning on the Paleckis case were also covered by Russian state-owned news organisations like Sputnik. Sputnik reported on Daly and Wallace's third and final trip to Lithuania in December 2022. Daly, Wallace and Ždanoka travelled to visit Paleckis in prison. They made statements of support and concluded by having a little sing-song outside the prison wall.
In Dublin's fair city, where the girls are so pretty, I first set my eyes on sweet Molly Malone, as she wheeled her wheelbarrow through the streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Alive, alive, oh. Alive, alive, oh. Crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh.
Bravo, ragazzi.